Hey, hey, hey. Happy new and beautiful day. How are you guys? I hope that all is well. Let's see. I hope that all is well with everybody. Hi, love some you. How are you? Gratitude. Gratitude for your present. Thank you. Thank you for divinely tuning in. I'm not gonna see you for a minute. I'm gonna let everybody know that I'm live. So just give me a couple of seconds to a minute. Hold on just a second. For a few of my faithful few. Just one moment. Let's see if I can, okay. I hope all is well. Gratitude to you as well, beautiful. Thank you. Let me see here. Just to a few of my faithful few. Just 1 second. Just a second. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna try see if my brother will come up. Just one moment. I hope that you guys are having an amazing day while I'm here trying to get this going. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I am having a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day. You're my neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I'm having an amazing day. And I am so grateful to be in this present state, experiencing what I am choosing to focus on. I am so grateful to be in this present state, and I hope that you guys are in your chosen reality. And if you're not, well, this is the channel for you so that we could begin to, become aware of how to begin to really start choosing the reality that we truly desire to create and experience. So I am so divinely grateful to be in this space, and welcome. And I just do need to remind you guys that this live is also being recorded for my YouTube channel, which is Pi Sovereign Signature. So also, in essence of me doing a live on Instagram, I'm also welcoming those who are also seeing this video on YouTube. So also welcome to my new YouTube family in conjunction with my Instagram family, integrated with my Instagram family. I am so divinely grateful to have everyone here now and also in the replay. I am so grateful. Welcome. And, the title today is we're going to be talking about spiritual bypassing, right? What does that look like? Okay. And I know I've been talking about that, and, we're going to get into a lot of our everyday things, right? In terms of the quantum metaphysical terminology, the terminologies that we talk about. But what does that look like on a practical everyday thing that we do, so that we can begin to associate our quantum metaphysical energetic self to how this actually looks in the collective consciousness, or the essence of practicality in our everyday lives, right? And so that's going to be what I'm going to now start to, I figured it out. I figured out how to do it. Okay. Hi, T-Love. Hey, beautiful. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful for you too. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Love some you is here. I'm so grateful, right? So I finally figured it out how to kind of bring and integrate the two of them together. And so I am so grateful for that shift in the essence of consciousness that has brought the conditions together for me to be able to now bring the quantum essence of the understanding into a practical sense where it can associate, assimilate, and relate. I'm so grateful for that. So like I said, you guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to populate them while we're doing this live, because as I said, this is also going to be integrated on the YouTube channel. So you never know, your question in the everyday sense of being could definitely, I will read it because this is such a very small, intimate session. So I have the ability right now to be able to answer the questions. Because I'm not, getting inundated with the influx of a lot of questions. So it's really, really nice to be in this, current space now where I can actually see the questions. So I'm grateful for that for right now. And so ask away. Do not feel like, that your question is, not a good question, because every question is a good question. Okay. So let me go ahead and get my disclaimers and different things out of the way. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or how to be. I'm only here to example how I understand my now moment, because I do realize that you are here to create your own relative reality. And you're only here to see whether or not if what I have to say resonate with how you are choosing to be. And so therefore, I understand that you are just shopping. You frequency shopping, right? In resonance, okay? Because you are an essence of creation, and you are creating your reality as well. So you frequency shopping right now, okay? I ain't here to take away your power. I'm here for you to realize that I got the power. It's getting kind of hectic, okay? I'm just here to give you the reference point. All right, so I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to be, because you are very well capable of, creating on your own terms. And so that is that. And any content creator or celebrity or anybody that I speak upon on this platform, all information is heavily, heavily alleged. I'm only utilizing the information that has been placed out there for public consumption to be used as an example for what I am referencing here on this live and any other live that I speak upon in the future. Yeah, that's all that it is. It could be not. I don't know. I was not there to be able to account or attest to the validity of such said information that has been placed out there. So it is heavily, heavily, heavily alleged. All right. All right. So we're going to talk about various of things, but my focus is going to be centered around spiritual bypassing, and reason being because it really does have a lot to do with, how we manifest or bring things into fruition on the physical plane. And I don't really, I got to really kind of be careful of how I choose my words, because it does have a lot to do with, the perception of religion too as well. Okay. And the thing of it is it's a contradiction when you're okay, so like to give you an example, if your biology is attuned to present one thing, but then you're dropping on your knees every day praying for another outcome, that's kind of like what spiritual bypassing is, right? Because your consciousness, and then also to the frequency that you are also expressing from, it has a lot to do with that. But the spiritual bypassing to in what we're talking about here, because there's different forms of spiritual bypass, because remember, in wholeness, You got the yin and the yang, right? You're always going to have the polarity. You're going to have, so if you got one side that say, you're going to have its polar opposite, that of everything, of anything. So if it's infinite possibilities, in the yin, it's going to be infinite possibilities of its yang, because the yin and the yang is what encompasses the whole. So if just like you got the shrimp of you got the shrimp in the sea and you got the roach on the land, you know what I'm saying? I know that's like an analogy, but and they call them the cousins and the dozens and different things of that nature. So it's all encompassing. Whatever the land and the sea, you got the horse on the land, and then you got the seahorse. It's all infinite possibilities. It's always going to have a polarity, okay, of its opposite in terms of everything. Everything is always going to have a polar opposite. So and so once you get to understanding that, that's one concept of the beginning of how you begin to start seeing yourself in wholeness. That whatever you are feeling for that day, or whatever you are thinking of that day, always know that there is a polar opposite to that. So if you're choosing, like say if an event take place and it places you in a less desired state, okay, just know that even though a set of circumstances based off of belief or based off of an experience that you've had with a vibrational person that may have placed you in, because of the energetic exchange due to the anomaly or the situation or the story or the experience, based off of how you guys exchange the story, just know that there is a polar version of you, a polar opposite version of you, even in that exchange, that exists in an infinite aspect of self, because there's a whole nother yang energy that gives you the polar opposite of that experience as well. And as long as you are aware of it, you could begin to attune yourself energetically, vibrationally, and in frequency to that reality. But as long as you continue to attune the biology and the physical plane of self to a denser state, then you're just going to continuously result the reality of a reality that you probably don't wish to experience if you're having a hard time with these particular types of experiences that you don't like. Okay. And we're going to get into that. But spiritual bypassing is like saying, like you're let's say if you are wanting to become a millionaire, you want to become a billionaire, and so you're saying that, it's going to happen, and you're just going to say it's just going to continuously happen because I'm in the fifth dimensional consciousness, I'm aware, and you're just into this whole allotment of the conscious aware consciousness, right? And so you're just in the spiritual self without attuning or integrating your biology to the physical self, right? So you're just thinking that because, I'm aware and I'm just aware that it's just going to be magically delicious because I'm aware and it's going to align. And because I'm aware, it's just going to be aligned. All I need is just my spiritual self. And it's just going to align because I'm aware. I'm aware because it's just going to align because I'm aware. I'm aware. Okay. But you're not attuned. Okay. So your awareness may be that of fifth dimensional consciousness or an expanded awareness, but you have not yet integrated your awareness into the embodiment of that consciousness. And so therefore you're in a spiritual bypass because you're aloof. You're moving in what they consider my speaking into an abstract Abstract is meaning that it doesn't have any containment, right? I'm speaking abstract, and I'm not bringing things into a real life event. So what that means is that, like, you're saying your affirmations, right? I'm affirming that I, want, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever the case may be, right? And you're doing what you need to do, or whatever the case may be, right? So you at some point may acquire a specific reality, but you may not be able to maintain and sustain it, because that is not the true essence to that to which your nervous system is attuned to. So that's why sometimes somebody can be, they can win the lottery, and they may have been attuned at some level to the frequency of winning the lottery, right? But 2 or 3 years down the line, they don't have any more money because they have so many leakages, or they're not at the capacity to maintain and sustain the wealth reality, because they're not attuned properly to the reality. Their nervous system is still in survival, fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? Right? So it's a force to be reckoned with in terms of understanding how the reality is being chosen, and opening up the essence of capacity. So a lot of times what happened in the bypass is that we sit here and we say, oh yes, I'm going to love some, you say, live in the motion of our truths. Yes, it's about embodiment. The embodiment in the physical plane is what allows the essence of consciousness to experience itself in physical form. And so what I'm doing here is like bringing the practical sense of the quantum self into the essence of the everyday reality. So you're here in physical form, and you're going to work, and you're doing your everyday thing. And so the way that you're living right now is based on how you understand your reality, what you have agreed upon. And what I said was it yesterday or day before yesterday? I think it was day before yesterday. What I said day before yesterday, you have the awareness of you, which is an aspect of self that is not programmed. And then you have the unaware you, which is the aspect of you that is assumable to be a blank slate that allows itself to become programmed so that it can experience realities without interference. Okay? Because the awareness of you, if you come into a reality aware, then the awareness is going to, as what is happening to me, those who are awakening, the awareness is going to interfere with the alternate reality. Okay? Because you are aware, right? So the reason why you have the forgotten state or the blank slate, so that you can become programmed, so that awareness doesn't interfere with you experiencing an alternate reality in the opposite polarity. Okay? So that's why when, as I become more expanded in my awareness, I realize that survival state is not bad or good. It's an aspect of consciousness that has chosen to experience itself in an alternate state to that to which it is in truth. Okay? And so a spiritual bypass is that where you are aware and you are expanding your awareness. You have decided your core essence of your somatic side of self, or your gut instinct of your nervous system, has decided to awaken. Okay? And now you are aloof. You're aloof. And until you now can contain that in the physical plane, so that you can now begin to, because everything, in order to experience the reality, just like you contained or embodied the survival reality in the biology of self, you now have to take the abstract out of the expanded awareness, and you now have to embody the expanded awareness into the physical plane in order for the expanded awareness to show itself viable into physical reality. Now, I want you guys to let me know if you guys understand me, overstand me thus far, because I'm working on my abstract and I'm trying to bring it to be more palatable in regular reality, okay, what we are experiencing by everyday things. So for instance, if you are a working person, right, you're going to work and you do understand love from you. Okay, I'm grateful. Thank you. Grateful. So you are going to work every day, and thank you, T Love. I'm grateful. Thank you, T Love. So you're going to work every day, and you are, experiencing many different aspects of selves. Now, in an unawakened state and in a programmed state, you have come in, allowed yourself to be programmed, and you're not necessarily questioning a reality. You're just basically doing what the programmed essence of what you've allowed yourself to become programmed with. You are moving in the momentum of what you have allowed the repertoire of self to be induced with in terms of the programming, whether it is the poverty aspect of things, the wealth aspect of things, the survival state of things, the social economic standard of things, the politics of things, anything, the potential of parenting, the psychology, and the thing about it in the reality, they are all truths for the reality that has created it. Okay, so when you hear things about dementia, when you hear things about dis-ease, to the biology, which is a frequency that affects the anatomy or the biology, these are all truths. This is what consciousness has made true so that consciousness can experience that reality in that frequency, in truth, in absence of awareness, because in an aware state, that frequency of dis-ease would not affect the biology in that way, because the biology would be able to heal itself. Because in an aware state, it would house a frequency that would just automatically heal the biology. So in an unaware state, the frequency is allowed for the essence of consciousness to experience sickness and different things, different modalities. Okay, so that is the purpose of survival consciousness. Okay, and I'm taking this slow so that way you guys can understand, overstand, what I'm saying, and let me know if you understand, overstand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay, because I know I do got to take it slow, because I want to make sure that you guys, that it's not, a lot of times what happens is that and then there are things that we have created, as we evolve, to give us more of a definition of what it is that we do want to experience. So the more and more deeper that we got into the depth of a more descended consciousness. Okay, so I see the question, T Love, and this is where now you can ask me away while I'm in this frequency to be able to give you an answer. Okay, so everything is frequency based. Okay, so everything is frequency based. So consciousness is everything. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the quantum field. Okay, the quantum field of self. Okay, so the quantum field of self is a polarized essence of being. So you have what we're going to call polarity. I'm going to call the yin and the yang. Okay. There are different names for it. You got God and the devil. You got, what's the name of that guy name? I can't think of his name. You got Yakub and you got the next guy. You always have a polarity. You got illumination and you got Illuminati. Okay. So anywhere you have anything, it's always going to have a polar opposite. Okay. So in the unified field of self, the unified field of self is whole. Okay. It's not sick. It's all aware. Man, machine. Hi, Ninja. Hi, Ninja. Hi, my friend. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes, you got man, you got biology, you got mechanics. Okay. And so therefore, yes, you have the polar opposite. So this is what the energy presents itself. So when it comes into the plane, the physical plane of existence, it's a replication of how energy is serving itself in physical form. Okay. It's always showing itself. It's always going to show the polarity. Okay. So there is an aspect of self, right, that is whole and not sick. But then there's an aspect of self that is fragmented and sick. Okay? There is a frequency of you that's not sick. That is whole. That is self-healing. That doesn't experience illness. But then there's a frequency of you that do. Right? So when you get into the understanding, and this is where I'm speaking from a quantum, I'm trying to speak simplified quantum, essence of understanding. And I really, my goal was to try to make this practical, in terms of understanding. And I hope I'm working in that space, in that regard, because okay, you got it. Because I know it doesn't, you see now, okay, yes. As long as you can understand that there is a polarity, and so the self, the essence of the self has, it knows that in wholeness, that it's nothing until it chooses to become something. And so within the something of the choice, right, it has a choice between the polarities, whether if it wants to choose to be this, wants to choose to be that in the polarities, or a combination of both. It has the ability to do, because remember, it's infinite possibilities. Okay. So you can have a combination of whatever. Okay. Right. And through integration, it gives you the ability to have a combination of being in a chosen reality and still experiencing other frequencies around you through awareness, right? So you're still experiencing the aware state of knowing that other versions of you are experiencing certain things to a certain degree, right? But you're just not directly experiencing it in your relative reality, things that are relative to you, because your field of energy is not vibrationally compatible to that field of energy that gives that essence, that direct relatable experience. So your experience now that you are creating in your field of energy is giving you a relative reality. For those who have chosen a different field of energy, is only giving them a sense of an awareness that your reality exists, but it's not relative to them because they're choosing a different field of energy to experience and express from. Do you understand that? So that's just saying, like, we guys say, oh, you got rich and switch. They're in the Beverly Hills country club, and you only can get in if you can associate and assimilate through membership only. That's a whole nother different field of energy. Okay. Can I break that up in a different way? Okay. So which one you're talking about? The field of energy, or you say, oh, okay. It's a delay. It must be a delay in this thing. It gotta be a delay if you say, oh, it gotta be a delay. It gotta be a delay. Okay. So you're gonna have to tell me it gotta be a delay, T-Love. It gotta be a delay. So yes, so the field and wholeness encompasses every possibility. And in the essence of possibility, it's based on rich and switch. Yes. Right. And in the polarized, in the lesser form of a polarity, because of the vibration that we understand it in, we think that we have been abandoned. Where abandonment is in a lower form of vibrational state. But because I have, shifted in an essence of awareness, I don't understand that rich and switch methodology anymore in that state, because I have shifted my awareness, and I realize now that it's not abandonment. It has everything to do with the shift in a vibrational state of being as to why this particular illusion of separation has commenced. So the shift in awareness, the shift will allow you to understand it differently. So basically, like people say, you didn't change, you shifted in an essence of vibrational states. But the illusion in terms of the programming with the way the programming is designed to keep you in certain labels and states of being. If I've been programmed in a lower state or survival state, if I'm in a survival state and I'm defending my reality, and I have abandonment issues and I have all this other kind of stuff, and I'm still holding on to certain environmental epigenetic DNA, because it depends on how your biology is braided in frequency. Well, aloha, Mystic. How are you? Long time no see. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. Welcome. In their minds, it's a change, which is what they see. Yes. So what happens is, like, if they say, like, to give you an example, if somebody say, they got rich and switch. Okay, so if I was to say, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Yes. So I'm gonna try to give you an example. Like, if I say, oh yeah, he done got his money and he rich and he done got rich and switch and everything. Okay, so how I would understand now in a sense of expanded awareness, what that translates to me is that here's a person that is operating from a state of survival, that is defending survival reality, and is probably have a braided frequency of abandonment, right? And feel that this being has abandoned their reality that they're obviously defending in survival. So I have enough shifted awareness to at least know that the person that is stating, they got rich and switch, right, is defending the survival reality. Now, a person that see the same person, and even if they are still in survival reality, and they may say, Yeah, they moved on up to the east side, and they're doing well for themselves and everything. That being may still be in survival, but they have a somatic resonance within the core of themselves that is open. So they're not too hardwired to the survival reality, because they still have some perception that it's okay to shift realities. Right? But the person that is hardwired to the reality of survival is like, yeah, they got rich and switching. They got a whole attitude about it, and they upset about it because they may have some abandonment issues. It could be through the braidedness of their epigenetics, through their DNA. It's how the light of their frequencies is bouncing off of their braided biological state that is more receptive to their biology in their nervous system, and how their nervous system is beaconing to solidify that reality in the physical plane. I know I said a mouthful, but if you guys need me to read long, y'all gotta get me while I'm in this signal, because sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't, okay? So while I'm in this signal and I'm in flow, and I'm, want to make it practical to an everyday life situation. So you guys gotta bring some substance of, situations and different things. And I thank you, T Love, for being that beautiful voice of reasoning to bring this out, because this is how we begin to understand the shift in consciousness, and how biology plays a very significant role in how the interpretations of reality goes when the biology feels that it's in a fixed reality and there is no other reality out there, because it feels that it's fixed in a fixed reality. Okay. It doesn't think that even though it sees other realities commencing, it doesn't believe that reality is available to them, and it defends it because there is a belief somewhere within them that they're holding on to, whether it's environmental, through their DNA, through lineage, whatever the frequency is being braided to beacon through their nervous system to project light energetically, to reflect and crystallize the reality. They're feeling that within themselves, and this is what is crystallizing the reality. Okay, and because that's what the beaconing is, that's why they're hardwired. That's why they believe that this is a true reality, even though there's other reflections of other realities. They are aware of other realities, but these other realities is not relative to their reality. So because it's not relative or related to their reality or relatable to their reality, that's the only reality that they know. So that's the reality that they're going to defend. That's what the reality is. That's what the nervous system is going to defend, is what is relative or relatable to them, because that's what the nervous system, the biology, is projecting in the physical plane. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Okay? Because this is how we're going to understand spiritual bypass. And when you spiritually bypass, you're staying aloof. Okay, you're staying in the aware state without integration. And so this is why because remember, thank you, love some you. I'm grateful. Thank you, T Love. I'm grateful, because this is why when you try to do affirmations and do all this other kind of stuff, even if you do get a couple of days out of it, it doesn't sustain. It doesn't maintain. It doesn't sustain, because you haven't embodied the frequency of the reality, and your nervous system and the braids, the epigenetics, and all of these things, because you're still housing frequency braids that contradicts the frequency that you want to experience, that suggests that you want to experience. Your focus is counterproductive to that aspect. Love some you say, the programming from watching TV shows and different movies. Yes, you have to be, selective, because your consciousness, it is, because those programs is your consciousness. What one doesn't realize in the illusion of separation, and this is me from expanded awareness, and this is, once again, this is how I understand my now moment. And I want to place out there what resonance, because I move in resonance. If it doesn't resonate, that's okay too. Okay. But this is how I understand my now moment. I take everything as me. Okay. And so because I see myself as the field. Okay. I am the field experiencing myself in different tones of expression, in different fields of expression. So even me experiencing you are an essence of expression. Okay. And it's either that I am in resonance with you, or if I experience you and it doesn't resonate, then I either draw a boundary to that, or I don't align. I just won't come. You won't come into my projection window for me to experience you at all, if it's that far removed in the field, because the field is very vast. It's a very vast field of self. But nevertheless, whether I see you or if I don't see you, I still know that you exist at some capacity, even in the unknown. So when you become the field of self, you know that everything is you. You are everything. So how that matriculates on down now is that you have infinite possibilities. The infinite possibilities have a polarized opposite of itself. So if you have war on this side, you have peace on this side. And there is a balance. There could potentially be a balance of the two. And the balance of the two is where you decide to place your focus. So your focus is what makes it relative to your reality. And your awareness is the neutrality to say, yes, I'm aware that it exists, but my focus is what I am making relative to my reality. I'm aware that it exists, but my focus is what is going to make this relative to my reality. That is what brings the balance that encompasses the whole of the polarity. That is wholeness. I'm aware what's over here. I know Walmart is down the street, but I choose Publix. Okay? I know Walmart is down the street, but I choose Target. So I'm just going to go ahead and focus on Target, even though I'm aware that Walmart is down the street. My choice is Target. Yes. My focus is what counts to my relative, what I make relative to my reality. My focus. Okay? What you place your focus on and attention on, that's what grows. So that's why the news and everything and social media constantly inundates you with things to capture your attention, because that's the true currency, the energy of you. That's the true currency, what you place your attention on. So if I could get you to think about this braided frequency that is attached to war, then then what do you think is going to constantly have a continuum of permeating? And you're going to bring that into the repertoire of your being, into your epigenetics, into your environment, into the repertoire of yourself, and you're going to have dialogue, and then you're going to start bringing people into that's in that braided reality, that's in that frequency. They're going to start having conversations with you and different things of that nature, and in the back of your mind, and you're going to be like, well, I really don't really want that, but you focused on it. And sometimes you could be in this what is called this the scroll habit, and you ain't even have to have a dialogue with nobody, a conversation with nobody, and you scrolling and you having this experience, and then you start having people coming up and having conversations with you. What do you feel about this such and such? Yeah, and you go and you say, well, how did this? And you go back and say, oh shit, I was scrolling and I was looking at it, and you braided into that frequency. You went into that wave of energy, and it was and the thing about it is that the universe, how can I say it? The universe is not going to mirror what you want. It's going to mirror what you are in frequency. It doesn't see words. It sees the true tone, the frequency of you. Okay? And the physical plane allows for it to assume or presume density so that it can have tangibility. Okay? So whatever you place that energetic essence of focus on, it is going to crystallize and bring it into the physical plane of existence, of that to which you are in truth. So you focus on whatever you focus on, it's going to quantumly materialize, because you're always energy in motion, whether you agree to that or not. You're always making something. Okay? You're always creating something, because you are creation. You are the experience. You are the field of energy. You are the field of energy experiencing itself in the physical plane of self. So the energy of self has matriculated itself into the physical plane of self, and voila, here are you. So through you, your focus is on voila, and your reality is being projected through the braids of the biology that has conjured so that you can now experience the physical plane of self. I know I'm going to say this wrong, but don't charge my heart. Don't charge my heart. Don't charge my heart. So I know it's no, I'm just going to say Star Rebel. But it's Confunya Star Rebel. Confunya Star Rebel. I'm just going to say Star Rebel. Hi, Star Rebel. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful, and welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay? So when you overstand yourself, hail up. Okay. Indeed. Gratitude. I'm so grateful. Thank you. When you begin to understand yourself in wholeness, it changes the dynamic of how you experience reality. Like, as I'm going to always constantly reiterate on every live that I do on Instagram for YouTube, until I'm able to go live on YouTube. I am the field experiencing myself. I am the experience itself. I am the experience experiencing the physical plane of self in physical form, right? And so, as I said, when we decided to choose to experience the fractal side of self, or the survival state of self, Ninja says, I am in tune with what everything I want to happen usually always happen. I got to be careful though, because my energy is still easily manipulated. I have to be careful for what I wish for. And as long as you are in a state of awareness of what it is that you want to create, and you are, because remember, everyone has, for the sake of experiencing its source experiencing itself in the physical plane of self, the intelligence of source allowed itself to give itself a signature so that it can identify so many variations of experiences of itself. So the way that you are identifying your creational value within the physical plane of self, if you are aware of that, then that is significantly a good thing. And that is something that you should take heed to in that regard. Because a lot of things can take, somebody can come into your space and shift your energy, especially if you are not grounded. Because what that says to me in terms of manipulation, is, what that would say to me is to focus on grounding, so that you are not as easily manipulated out of the reality that you have chosen to experience. So the internal grounding would be, and I'm not telling nobody what to do, but if I was aware, now that I'm in a state of awareness of self, and me hearing that of myself, in my aware state, I would definitely ground. I would definitely do my internal grounding, so that way I'm not as easily manipulated by other aspects of cells that are moving in a different vibrational state. And so that way, if that wave or that particle come into my state energetically, I'm able to come back up into my essence of coherence without being, moved so drastically, and I can maintain the coherence of the reality that I am choosing to experience. I'm maintaining the vibrational state of the reality that I'm choosing to experience. I'm not, all wibble wobbly. That's what grounding allows you to. An embodiment allows the embodiment of the reality that you're choosing, and the grounding allows us to maintain the chosen reality without being all over the place and being manipulative and being fractal. Okay, some of the grounding examples is basically when you have decided to integrate the reality and not be bypassed by any of the reality. So grounding is not basically fracturing. So when you get into a situation and the trigger works, I think what they would call the healing process, or what they call and I never could get that. I never could think of it when I need to think of it, and when I hear it, because I want to use the word that you guys are familiar with, shadow work. Okay, I don't like calling it shadow work because that's a negative connotation to it, right? It's really grounding. Okay, so grounding is when you are checking yourself. Okay, so when you begin to integrate with the reality chosen. Okay, so you've chosen the reality that you want to experience, right? Because now you're becoming more aware. So if your awareness, right, has come online, and your expanded awareness has come online, okay, and so now you're able to understand tomato from tomato, or you can realize that some of the programs that used to dominate or regulate your nervous system are no longer viable for you. And so, like, for instance, racism dissolved for me as a program. I never really had it as a program, but it dissolved for me as a participant in disagreement, because I didn't want to be a part of it, even in disagreement. So it dissolved for me in disagreement. So when your expanded awareness is going to begin to dissolve programs, even programs that, so I'm letting you know what expanded awareness looks like, so that you can begin to understand what you now need to do to ground and integrate, because the grounding now is going to challenge that expanded awareness. Because the grounding, if you're not grounded, you're going to be all over the place, because the external value is going to challenge everything that your expanded awareness now is making you available towards. Because now is either what are you going to do? Are you going to dissolve the reality or feel misaligned in conflict? And that misalignment and conflict, especially when you're trying to regulate your nervous system, that's going to make you feel like a live wire going berserk. It's a very not so happy situation. So that's what happened. That's why a lot of times what happened is that when people get into that spiritual bypass, when you get into that spiritual bypassing, people get into that state and they just stay there and they stay aloof. Oh, because it feels good. They ain't got to integrate. They ain't got to have conversations with people about their expanded awareness. They just go along to get along in the reality. Because remember, you're already, okay, spiritual bypassing is that you're already integrated into the third dimensional consciousness. This is what your DNA is already integrated and embodied through the third density reality. Okay. But you now are becoming aware. And the consciousness is making you say, okay, here we are. We're dissolving all of these programs. Right? But here it is now. If you integrate, it's going to be some things that might come along with it. You might get ostracized, embarrassed. People might be looking at you crazy. It's some things that may come along with it. So a lot of times what happens is that they try, a lot of souls or essences, it feels so good in the bypass, because to go through that integration process is some things to go through the integration process. And then now you got to ground and stand firm into it, because your biology is going to have some repercussions to it as well. Because now you got to continuously, speak to your biology through that truth and say, I'm safe. I'm no longer in survival. I no longer choose survival. Because now this is the last thing to take shape and form, which is the physical plane of self. Okay? So now you got to ground what you have chosen to embody. You got to solidify and ground it into the reality of what it is that you have chosen to experience. So that way, when you get around other vibrational states, that is no longer, yes. So grounding is standing in your own essence of self frequency that you have chosen without fragmenting, so that you don't fragment back into the survival reality. You are embodying the new frequency of the expanded awareness. So for instance, you for shits and giggles, you basically you done embodied fifth dimensional reality, if that makes any sense. Right? Fifth dimensional consciousness. So now you have to ground that sacred aspect of the expanded awareness, because you're still in a plane of existence. Because remember, there are beings that operate from other aspects of awareness too as well, and they embody as much as they possibly can in terms of grounding, but you'll never see them, but it's the plane of existence don't just exist for the human experience. There are other experiences that we're just not vibrationally attuned to. Okay? But yeah, you're grounding into the essence of the human experience, so that therefore the other vibrational states that the biology of the human experience is able to attune to, it's less likely for you to shift out of those states, because you are now grounded into that state of being. That's why I say the internal grounding is not, to me, I think is far more important than the external grounding, because that is the true stabilizer. That is the true essence of what stabilizes your ability to sustain the essence of being in that chosen reality. Okay? But you got to stand firm. You got to stand strong, stand firm, stand true. That's why I say the authenticity of the chosen reality, it has to be true, it has to be pure. You can't fake it. You got to be real about it. And then it will reflect in it will begin to project into the reality. And so therefore, when those who are still choosing survival reality in the physical plane, or 3D consciousness as they call it, fractal consciousness in chaos and confusion and different things of that nature, you can still hold on to your chosen reality without fragmenting, right? Without spiraling. Okay? And what that means is you won't find yourself depressed. You won't find yourself sick. You won't find yourself as sick. You won't find yourself in those denser states anymore that would cause, those particular types of survival or fear-based responses. Because now you have grounded in the expanded awareness that has kind of, taken you out of the range of those frequency bands. Okay? So it allows you to be able to sustain. Okay, so what happens is that, yes, you will have some effect. But you're able to stabilize. It's not like, okay, so you're like, how you got some houses, right? That are built to code for hurricanes, right? They may lose a window or two. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, Ninja say, thanks for taking an off ramp to my crazy comments. I think we're getting back on track. It's okay. You're cool. You're cute. You're stabilized. Your foundation, your grounding is your foundation. So you might lose a door, you might lose a window, but the recovery is not total catastrophe. You're able to come back into the essence of coherence. So in a wave particle, right? You know how a cellular phone, right? When you're sending a signal from one phone to the next, it breaks up, and then when it reaches to the next device, it breaks up and then it comes back whole. It breaks up and then it comes back whole. So it breaks up into particles and then it comes back whole. So what happens now is, and I don't know how the hell I knew this. This came up from, I don't know how I knew that. That just came out of that came out of the old Rolodex file. I don't know. That just came up out of the Well, I learned that somewhere. I remember from that shit from somewhere. That came out of the Rolodex when you had the little Rolodex shit. Okay. So it breaks up and then it comes back whole, okay? So in a wave, when you become a wave now, right, at 0 point, the essence of neutrality. So now you're back at a wave that has chosen to come into an essence of, being and feel of self and form, okay? So when you do decide to come into expression, you can come back to your wave self, right? Neutral self. Because neutrality have you to step back, reorganize back into your wave form because you're aware. You're not scattered anymore because you're aware. See, the awareness, it takes out all of the program. All of the programs start to dissolve. You realize that you know about the programs now, and you know what the programs are for, but you're not operating from the programs anymore. So that changes the dynamic of how you move. So you can now step back into your waveable self. And then when you're ready to come back into the embodiment of the reality chosen to collapse into the physical form, the particle self, right? So that you can now move into the reality and experience the reality, you're more organized to experience it. And I'm speaking quantum, you guys, but that's pretty much how the biology of the wave and the signaling come into the biology for the animation, for you to be able to animate the reality. Okay? For you to be able to have the conversations, go to the store, have a conversation, have a cup of coffee, have engagement, have all of the things that you have chosen in that frequency bandwidth, so that when you go to Starbucks and you meet a person, 9 times out of 10, if you are in coherent, expanded awareness consciousness, you're going to have a good experience. You're going to have an equilibrated experience in terms of the likelihood of that experience being a positive experience to what we perceive as positive, or what you perceive as positive, or what you perceive as the type of reality that you want to experience, which is a balanced, coherent, neutralized type of experience, happy-go-lucky experience. If that is the reality that you're trying to create for yourself, then the likelihood of that to be more probable will be more likely than not. It all depends on how you are wanting to experience the reality. That is how that wave is going to collapse into the physical plane for you to be able to experience the reality in that way. How you choose to re-experience the reality. So your day, so that's why you have to become very specific about what you decide in terms of your day, how you want your day to go. Because when you decide that you are the field, and the field is going to go exactly how you interpret yourself, and how your interpretation of either the programming that you are allowing in the background of self that you may be still unaware to, and then also the programs that you are aware of, right? Where if you are still holding on to those programs and have not yet dissolved them, okay, that is what's going to begin to send out that signaling in that frequency to begin to go through the biology of you, these crystal grids. You hear about the crystal grids that comes into, they talk about the crystal grids on planet Earth and different things of that nature. Well, you're a whole crystal grid too. Through your DNA, through your blood, through everything that comes into the biology that makes out things that is sending out signals. That's why when you have gut issues and different things of that nature, and it brings aware on you, it sends a distress signal. It sends a fight or flight signal. And sometimes when you have those issues, it can send a missignaling to how you are projecting realities and different things of that nature. Yeah. It's all about the biology, how the biology is responding to, how you are internalizing the reality and how you are grounded into the reality. So the grounding is when you are having these, like what Ninja was saying, the manipulations, easily manipulated. Okay. And so when the manipulations comes into the equation, you are grounded enough to not be consumed by the manipulations. You don't fall prey to the manipulations, because you are more aware now to recognize that, oh yeah, this is an altar to my reality. And so therefore you're able to recognize it for what it is. If it's something that you have allowed into your field of energy through friends, family, work relations, and different things of that nature, and you're not as triggered as you used to be through just being in, general population where a stranger might come up and trigger you or whatever by, and you're able to, maintain the integrity of that to which you are in truth, then you're golden. But even if you do get a little triggered, you're grounded, and you don't get stuck there. You don't stay mad long. It goes in one ear, it comes out of the next, because that's not your truth. That vibrational state to what is there is not your truth. That is not your truth. You're grounded, you're secure, you're stabilized, you're embodied into the essence of the truth of that to which you are. You have integrated into the aware state of the expanded awareness through the biology. The only thing that you have to do now is make sure that the vessel of you stay attuned through the nervous system, that it's no longer in survival, that it's safe. And how do you do that is when you are aware of certain situations and your cellular memory is still at the default state, that this is how I would normally respond. This is how my cells would normally respond if Patrice would have been in this situation, and then it goes getting tight. You have to be aware that, oh, if I was in this situation before, my nervous system would have done this, and then you start feeling, and then you have to be aware of your body and say, well, we're no longer in fight or flight. This is not a situation that is threatening to me. My nervous system at the time was in a state of unawareness, and that was just a default response system that programmed my cells in that state. But it was never really a threat, because no threat was really there. We just got mad because we were just taught to respond animalistically for something that was no reason to get mad. We just thought that we needed to get mad when all what was really happening was that the nervous system was just simply defending a reality that it was creating. And it was no reason for anybody to become upset, or if we had an awareness, if we were aware of the reality, then nobody would not have gotten into that deeply embedded state of survival. So now that you are aware, you can say now, oh, okay, yeah, there's no real threat here. Now, if somebody's coming after you with something to bring bodily harm, that is a legitimate response system to say, yes, this is a threat. Okay? That's a difference. That's a whole nother different response system, because a threat in that particular state, yes, that's a viable threat. But other cases where you're, hola, Cosmos. Cosmos has entered the building. There's no reason for you to be sorry about that. And you're not late. You're on time. You arrived when you were supposed to arrive. And I'm always grateful and thankful for you being here. And welcome. And thank you for tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So a real threat, to the physical existence of you, yes, that's different, where you know that this is an actual threat to your physical existence on the plane. That's different. But, like an argument through a conversation and different things of that nature, or, something that is really non-threatening, but your body is reacting due to cellular memory, that is a threat. That's when you now bring that off the ledge. And so now you are attuning your biology. And the grounding is just that you're staying solid into the essence of the chosen reality. And you'll feel it. You just have to choose to ground. The chosen part of grounding is just choosing to ground. You're choosing to ground. You're choosing to integrate. You're choosing to embody. You are choosing. It's all about the choosing to embody the expanded awareness, to be able to experience and express the expanded awareness in the plane. of a physical plane of existence. When you don't choose the expanded to integrate, embody, and ground, then you're in a spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypassing is when your physical vessel is still attuned to survival state reality, but you have expanded awareness. And how you know you have expanded awareness, but you're still projecting third density, is when the programs are dissolving, but you still projecting, density. Consciousness is still projecting density reality, and here you are saying, "Oh, I know I'm going to be." You are aloof. "Oh, I'm just going to do affirmations. Oh, I'm just going to think. Thoughts become things, and all of this aloof shit that they tell you. Oh, thoughts become things. No, thoughts become things when you embody it. When you become it. And in order to embody it, that means you have to integrate the frequency into the essence of the biology. That is what embodiment is. You cannot be aloof to it. You have to, that's why they say you have to become the environment that you want to experience. You have to become it. You have to embody it. You have to become it. You have to see yourself already there, because you do already exist in that space. You just don't realize it. Okay, because your nervous system isn't attuned to a different reality that says that you have agreed to survival. So now you are already embodied to survival state. So now you have to embody to the coherency of another attuned reality. Right. You have to become synchronized to that reality. You have to embody it. And then not only embody it, you have to become grounded to that reality. Otherwise, you're going to be like loose sand. You're going to be trying to plant a tree in loose sand. As soon as it rains, it ain't going to, and it's going to, uproot. You're not going to have nothing. So that's the thing. And like I said, spiritual bypass, a lot of beings spiritually bypass, thinking that, they don't have to integrate. And they're looking for, their biology is attuned to, they're embodied to the third density reality, thinking that everything is going to change, and nothing changed. They're still sick. They're still, moving in the essence of the illusion of separation. Even with the expanded awareness, these programs are dissolving, but the contrast is still creating the misalignment, because your nervous system is still, your biology is still attuned to survival reality. So what do you think that's going to do to the mind? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, mind playing tricks on me. Okay. So, I wanted to place that out there, because at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, when you become aware, I can't, I'm not going to say I can. I can't. How can I say? We have, when you become aware, there is no pretending. But I do understand that I have to bring it down to a space where it is relatable, so that you guys can understand from a concept of everyday walk, everyday talk, everyday situations, right? People, places, persons, and things. Okay, so that there can be a essence of association and assimilation to that, to which it can actually make sense. Okay, but in essence, I've been down that road. I know what it feels like, but I understand also that it's a choice. You have to choose, just like Kanye say, and I understand more deeply now what he meant by when it's a choice. It's a choice every day you wake up. The only reason why I take up my phone to this day is because of what I'm doing here. But if I had decided to make a different choice where I didn't need any type of mechanical device or anything like that, I wouldn't even take up my phone, right? Because it's a choice. It is a choice. If you take a snapshot in your mind, what I suggest, and this is, like I say, this is all up to you guys. This is how you understand your now moment. It's all up to you guys. This is based off of resonance, and I will always say, I move in the essence of resonance. What I suggest for you guys is, and I think I've suggested this before, but I'm going to suggest it again. If you sit down and just in a quiet space, because what survival consciousness does, survival consciousness will give you what they call it, programs, right? And so when you sit down by yourself and you are, you sit down by yourself and you are quiet, and if you're quiet and you got a whole run of things going on while you are quiet, these are background programs running in these are frequency, these are background programs that are running, right? When you start listening to these programs and different things of that nature, now you got to listen to what these programs are, because this is what you are integrated. These are programs that are now become your repertoire of being. These are what you have. This is what you have integrated within the repertoire of your being, whether it's through your own choice of belief, whether it's through biology, whether it's through the epigenetics of the environment, all of these things that has now internalized within how your nervous system is responding to the crystals that is within the biology, the crystal lights that is within the biology of you. Okay? The crystal lights that is within the biology of you. That is how the light is now refracting to create the reality that you are experiencing in that frequency. Okay? So you have to sit down in a quiet moment and try to begin to hear the background programs of what your mind is saying in the background of self. And then ask yourself, okay, is this me, or is this something that is programmed within me? Are these things that I agree with, or if not? Now, in real life situations, right? Yes. Just a second. I'm doing a live.
Yeah, just put your hand right here.
Thank you. Sorry about that. You have to ask yourself I forgot what I was going to say because I got distracted. That's one thing I don't like when I'm being interrupted in the live, that I lose my train of thought. But you have to ask yourself, I forgot, and I know it was something important, but hopefully it'll come back to me. What was I going to say? And I know it was important. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Just cut right into the frequency. Oh, that bothers me. Oh, I gotta get me a studio. But as I say, you have to make the decision within yourself, right? You have to sit with yourself, okay? And you have to decide in terms of what it is that's within you, okay? What is programming and what is not, okay? And that is when now you are peeling back the layers, right? And like I said, this channel is really for those who are open to choosing self and the authentic self, the coherent self, and trusting that this choice is going to really give them the reality that they want to experience and express, and give them the results that they want to experience and express. One of the greatest things that is happening for me is that I am beginning to, the noise, that background interference and different things of that nature of the programs are now less and less, because I have sat with self long enough that most of that interference noise has dissolved. Okay? It's getting quieter and quieter and quieter. Okay? So when you, and so now you are moving with more capacity, because that's what the nervous system is also about too. Because when you don't have the capacity to expand, then your physical reality is going to still move from limitation. What taking away a lot of the programming and different things of that nature does, it expands your ability to hold more capacity to that to which you are choosing. Okay? Thank you, Kazi Kaz. That is that to which you are choosing. Okay, because you got to clean up. You got to defrag. You know, like a computer. I'm always bringing things back. Thank you, who's ever given me 100s. I know it's probably Kazi Kaz. Thank you. You got to defrag. Okay. And so when you begin to reorganize and, as I say, recondition, bring on the essence of the conditioning of the realities. And now I'm getting hearts. Okay, well, thank you, who's giving hearts. I'm grateful. Thank you. It is that to which now you are opening up more capacity for you to be able to now invite the essence of the integrated, expanded awareness into the physical essence of, so that your biology, yes, clear the noise. Yes, Kazi Kaz, clear the noise, because you have to have the capacity now into the physical side of you. Now remember, the physical you is, oh, you, okay? It's a delay too. It's a delay on this thing. The physical you is the divine self of the you experiencing itself in physical form. Okay, the you of self experiencing itself in physical form. So we have held the capacity of, okay, so look at it like this. And I want to make it as very practical as I possibly can. And if you guys understand the words that are coming out of my mouth with this example, let me know by dropping a thumbs up. And if you don't know, then put in, I love when T-Love put in the little facey face of the question mark in there. I love that, because she looking like, huh? You know, like, huh? I like that. I love that. Because I love when, you're open and honest enough for me to, say, okay, so that I could get the iron and iron it out. I love that. You just don't know. I love that. So capacity. Okay. So as I've said, we have been integrated in the 3D reality, right? So now we got to make room for the expanded awareness, right? So the awareness, the expanded awareness, okay, we have that. So but we got to integrate it. So what the expanded awareness does says, I know that you were programmed in 3D consciousness to believe this. But the expanded awareness is saying, but this is what it is. Okay? Now you're awake. So the third density is saying, okay, you gotta dissolve. I'm dissolving all of the programs, right? I'm dissolving all of the programs so that the vessel now can become available, so that you can now begin to attune your vessel to that to which your expanded awareness has become. Because now you need, in order for the light to come into your body, you got to clear the density. Right? You got to clear the density of that to which you have agreed or embodied to experience in the 3D consciousness. Let me know if you understand me thus far. Because remember, you are embodied in agreement through belief, through programming, through epigenetics and different things, through lineage and all of this other kind of stuff. You are embodied in the survival state. So you're fully capacitated in the nervous system for the 3D reality. So now you gotta let go of some stuff, right? So that you can hold the capacity of the light, so that you could of the expanded awareness. Well, hello there, Maria, the Greek one. Hi, love, the magic from Vancouver, Canada. Wow. How amazing is that? Well, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful, and welcome. Thank you for being here. So now you have to make room to embody this beautiful essence of light of expanded consciousness. So in order to do that from an integrated perspective, to attune your vessel now for the dissolving of what you now know is now a program, right? Thank you for talking my languages. Thank you for being aware. I'm grateful. Thank you. I'm grateful. So now you have to become, now you have to really get the body attuned to that. So what does that mean, Patrice? Okay, well, that means that people, places, persons, and things, okay, you now have to, in your physical reality, you now have to pick, choose, and refuse what you allow in the repertoire of your relative reality that correlates, associates, assimilates, and aligns to that to which is now expanded in the expanded reality, which now has dissolved the programs that you are now aware of. That, okay, yeah, the illusion of separation is not, in my case, I should say, it dissolved the illusion of separation. It dissolved, the wealth concept. It dissolved the morality concept. It brought clarity to the hierarchy concept. It brought clarity to so many different things. And so it dissolved a lot of the illusions. So now, from an aware state of perspective, I have dissolved a lot of the programs. So now I have, expanded. But my biology now has to be able to constitute the ability to hold that expansion. So if I'm still blocked and clogged up with 3D consciousness, right, from an attunement to survival, so now I got to sit down with my biology now and hear how my mind is calculating, running the programs, what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about bills. I'm thinking about money. I'm thinking about bank account. I'm thinking about how I'm going to survive. I'm thinking about baby daddy, baby mama, the children getting on my nerves. I got court. I got this. I got that. So that's all 3D reality. I got all of that going on in the back of my mind. So what's the first song that came on in my head when I sat down quiet and I heard all of these 3D programs going on in the back of my mind when I was sitting down and I was quiet to myself? Back lady, you go hurt yourself. Carrying like that. That's what came to my mind. La, da, 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 da. You gotta let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Bag lady, you gon' hurt yourself carrying all those bags like that. When I heard in silence all those programs going on and on and on and on, Maria, the Greek one, says, I'm invincible to my mind. And when I didn't see that part. I don't know. I can't. It's okay. You say sing it, so right. So that's what I had to attune myself to understand. Okay, I had all of these programs, and all of these programs that was going on were what I perceived as 3D consciousness related. Okay. The job situation. Hi, Abdul-Abdin. Hi, my beautiful friend. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here, right? When it gets quiet, the songs come on. I'm invincible. Oh, thank you. I'll be trying. It's just a little bit, not a lot. Right? So when I start hearing all of those 3D programming, so the 3D now mind you, and let me be clear, okay? Even though my aware state, expanded state, was saying that, okay, these are programs, my nervous system still was trying to defend that, well, even though it was a program, this is a reality. This is my nervous system, because I hadn't fully integrated. Okay? I hadn't fully integrated. I was in the process of integrating, but this is how it was starting for me. Okay? So even though my expanded, because I was fully capacitated, because this is what my nervous system was attuned to, like, I'm finna defend this reality. I don't care what your expanded awareness, I don't care what your expanded awareness saying. Your expanded awareness is asking for access to this biology. It won't access. It's gonna have to fight. Okay, it wanted to fight. Okay, survival say, I'm finna survive this. It's gonna have to fight for this body. It's gonna fight for this body. Do you think it's the same as for me? It is as simple as just taking a few minutes to feel my breath and be in flow. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that, but just give me a moment, because I want to explain how to get capacity for those who want the capacity to be able to allow their expanded reality to integrate into their biology through their nervous system capacity. Okay, so with me, right, I had to, my reality was, I had my job situation, okay, I had my grandchildren's situation, right, I had all of this that was in a survival state. I was a woman that, took care of the entire family, right? Holding everybody down, doing for everybody, and wasn't doing anything for myself, right? So all of that was still on survival code, and it was very real for me, okay? And I didn't know how to delete, because I was in the midst of the frequency. I was still operating from the frequency. But in order to give capacity for the integration of the awareness to come into play, I had to begin to disembark the reality code of the consciousness that I no longer wanted to experience, which is the third density consciousness, right? Okay. So you have to disembark, you have to release, you have to make capacity, you have to begin to allow the biology to receive the signal, but you have to release the signal that is no longer compatible to the signal of the consciousness that you are now choosing to integrate with. So all of the programs and everything that was coming into my mind now, so I hadn't got rid of all of the external programs, because those were easy to get rid of, because that was the external awareness. The ones that were the hardest ones are going to be that of your family, the wealth concept, the wealth health, because that's a survival, your friends, maybe, you know what I'm saying? The social economics, if you're into politics or something like that, and you feel like the politics has a direct influence of your life, then that may be a stronghold on you. That was never really a stronghold on me. But if you feel like everything that the White House does has an effect on your life, then that might be a stronghold on you. So these things I didn't have to deal with that part, but like my household, my family, and my friends, and I didn't have much friends, thank God, but I only had one friend, and that was that. Okay. And mostly my family. Okay. So, and my job. Okay. My job was the hardest, and my family is the hardest. And my family was the last of the Mohicans, I should say, was the last thing for me to make room and capacity for full integration, to be able to let things go, so that the full internal integration of the frequency can encompass and embody for the chosen reality that I want to experience and express. So yeah, I was in that same spot. I'm like, and it wasn't until I decided that I had to say, yeah, this is a reality, but then I had to get into a space. Well, Patrice, this is an embodied experience through biology. The very thing that I'm talking about, this is an embodied experience. I embodied 3D. So I now, at the biology level, at the physical level, the physical plane of existence, if I have integrated it at a spiritual or at a quantum metaphysical spiritual level, and now I have to come at the physical level. If I have integrated them and I'm down at this level, to a physical level, to integrate it, I now got to make room in my biology for it to have full integration. Okay? For it to have full integration. Right? I'm not seeing the comments, if the comments is moving or whatever the case may be, because it looks like I'm seeing partial comments. I don't know what has happened. Okay? So with understanding, full integration, right? The integration of the full integration of the expanded consciousness, so that you're no longer in spiritual bypass and just being aloof without integrating, because a lot of times that is the hardest part, is integrating of the removing, the shifting out of the chosen reality of the survival consciousness, right? And integrating the expanded awareness of consciousness into the biology of the sacred self, of you, of the sacred self that has chosen to express that consciousness in the physical plane, right? And so that is the key essence of, understanding spiritual bypassing, and how to honor the essence of creating capacity so that you don't spiritually bypass and stay in spiritual bypass, expecting, results, because you are now consciously aware. And that's what the, that's what the original embarking of fifth dimensional, the heavily commercialization of the fifth dimensional consciousness did originally. They had us thinking that, it is, it's the golden age, and you're going to, have this wonderful life and all this other kind of stuff. And they told you in so many words that, you got to become what it is that you want to be. But they don't really go into intricate details of what that becoming sounds like, look like, what it is tied to. When you begin to now say, it's tied to the biology, now this is sounding foreign, because in all of these years that we were hearing about, the fifth dimensional consciousness, the awakening, and then, we are ascending and all this other kind of stuff, they never came back around, right, and tied it to the biology, right, in a manner to which how it is being tied to the nervous system. And we always knew about the DNA, but they always tied it into an essence of, the 12-stranded DNA, and that it had to be illuminated and different things of that nature. And it was always from an aloof or impartial state of understanding to how this biology is actually going to really affect how we experience in the reality. There was always, something missing in how it was explained. And so therefore we were just, but we was going along to get along, you know what I'm saying? And, now the information is coming into more of a wholeness aspect of being. We're getting more of the bigger picture now, and realizing that, yes. And even to this day, even some of this still sound foreign, and I understand even because when you're in it, when you're in survival, because even when I was doing the cleanup work for myself, like I gotta, I have to have a job, and what am I gonna do, and because the strength of the expanded awareness afforded me the courage to walk away from my job, afforded me the courage to still handle this situation within my home in a manner to which I'm doing. The awareness is what is allowing me to dissolve the 3D reality. But the integration into the biology that still wants to defend the reality, to sustain the reality, because the survival or the id or the ego, or it's or the shadow, or whatever whatever name that it wants to call, it still is thinking that it's a dying star, or it's a dying death, or whatever. It's dissolving. It's not going to be around anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer, or the ego death is what it's what they try to refer it to be. Okay, because it's you're shifting out of one essence of consciousness, or chosen consciousness, into another state of consciousness to experience and express in physical form. And you have to make the capacity for that essence of the expanded awareness to become functional in the embodiment of the physical self that you have chosen to express that consciousness in, that aware state of consciousness in. And it's like I said, I'm quantum simplified. Like I say, there's quantum complexity, and the complexity is in the survival state. And that's why when we were understanding survival in the complexity state of the quantum self, that's why a lot of people never kind of like divulged into understanding thyself in survival state, because the polarized version made quantum, the polarized version of quantum simplified is quantum complex with the dimensional self. So that's why we had the dimensional selves. That's why we have all of these versions and which is true. It's not to say that it's not true, but it's in a different vibrational state of understanding. So in the 3D complexities of quantum understanding, that's how you get to understand quantum, the complexities of quantum based off of the frequency that you're choosing to understand the quantum self in. You can understand the quantum self in a simplified version just as well as understanding the quantum self in a more complex version. There are many versions of how you can understand thyself in. Okay, you're not limited to how you want to understand the version of self. Okay, contrary to popular belief, it's not as complicated unless you want to understand the complexity of the quantum self, the field of self. And I'm so grateful that I am in a beautiful space to be able to house it in a way and express it in a way and share it in a way in the manner to which I'm capable of doing, because, it may not roll in a manner to, how one may be used to hearing it. But the resonance code that comes along in the frequency of the purity of it is what I'm definitely grateful for. And like I said, as I grow into allowing it to be more encompassed with everyday situations where people feel more comfortable in, saying certain things and different things of that nature, it will begin to get people to see themselves that are open, of course, right? That are open in a different light of being. If you can just remember that you are what you choose to be, right? You are what you agree to be, right? This is what you are allowing to make relative, and the programming is what you allow to make yourself become aware, right? Even if you don't allow it to become relative, right? And so it is such a beautiful space to be in. As I said, I am so very grateful to be in this space of being and sharing, because it really does change the dynamics of how you choose to experience and express. Because the last part of me being in my integration process is when I was in a job and, the family dynamics. Because as soon as I exited my job, if there was something there to immediately take that same energetic essence over. So I was still somewhat there in the same, survival setting. It's like I was still there in that same energy. And so so it was there to take over. It didn't leave no room for error. So I can speak based off of experience about the integration and creating the capacity to be able to hold more light in the awareness that you have chosen. And it's there. It's always been there. But we have chosen to defend realities that we no longer want to experience. And that's all survivor reality is that we continuously keep defending, this nervous system keeps defending the reality that we at heart, deep down inside, we truly no longer want to experience. I was saying today, to my husband's nephew, I said, why would I continue to place focus on realities that I no longer, realities that I no longer want to experience anyway? it's not to say that I'm not aware that the reality doesn't exist. I am aware that in the encompasses of the wholeness, you are aware in the field of self that these reality exists. But why would I place my focus on realities that I do not wish to make relative to how I want to experience or express? It's only when you try to make that reality completely disappear or fight against it. It's not about, when you try to fight against something, that's like fighting against self. You can't fight against something that has a right to be, because it is being, because it has a right to be until it isn't. You understand what I'm saying? You can't fight against it. You just, you make it where you just do not give your attention towards it. Okay? You go into the essence of providing a neutral space. It's like, yeah, I know you're there. It's like if I see a shadow. If I see a shadow, what am I going to do? It depends on the vibrational state that I'm in. If I see a shadow, am I going to fear the shadow, or am I going to recognize, oh, the shadow was there, and just keep going? So the thing of it is that if I fear the shadow, then I just gave power to something that didn't really ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I just gave power to something that didn't ask for it. It didn't ask me for the power. I just gave it the power. But if I see the shadow and be like, oh, I'm aware that you are there, but it's neither here or there. Oh, well, you're there. But that don't mean that I'm going to invite you in. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean I'm going to give you a seat at the table and say, oh, come and have breakfast with me. Right? So if I see the shadow self and I recognize that the shadow self is there, that's not to say that I'm going to ask the shadow self to come and have a seat at the table. I'm just going to realize that the shadow self is there, and I understand that it has a right to be there, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, here come breakfast. I ain't going to say that. I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm aware that you are there. You have a right to be. And I'm just going to focus on the reality that I want to experience, even though the awareness is there that you are there, until I move into an attuned state to not even that the shadow is not even there anymore. You know what I'm saying? That the shadow don't even exist anymore for it to be even a part of my awareness or relative reality, because that can also take shape and form as well. Because remember, it's always infinite possibilities too as well. Okay, so I just wanted to put a lot out there today for you guys to ponder, to think about, to kind of put into your repertoire of being when you're considering moving into the essence of a coherent state of being. I am truly enjoying this essence of remembrance. It is a beautiful space to be in. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space to be in. And I'm so divinely grateful that I have chosen this reality to experience and express. Because at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, it is about choice. Kanye ain't never lied. Okay, it sounds like a choice to me. You know, sounds like a choice to me. And it is choosing. What do you choose to focus on? What do you choose to integrate with? What do you choose to embody? What is the choice that you are choosing to release so that you can, make room to have the capacity of? And sometimes, yes, we don't have the words to articulate a lot of things. And I went through all of that. One of the greatest things that I can say is that I went through the journey, and I went through the journey from the rooter to the tutor, and I'm still going through it. So I have lived experience that is fresh, hot off the press. Like if anybody was to have a conversation with me right now, honey baby, sugar pie, honey bunch, it is fresh, hot off the press, because I went through it. I went through it. It it can't be sold. I went through it. And I'm going through it. And this is why I can so eloquently articulate it, because it is a lived experience. It's not theory. It's not theory. I lived through it. If anything, they would take my words and make it theory. But I lived through it and still am. I speak from lived experiences. So I hold the tone, I hold the frequency, I hold the value. And I go from, not having a blueprint, to now organizing the blueprint to how I want to experience the reality. That's how far I have shifted into understanding the reality that I now architect. Yes, Kaz, I experience. I hold the resonance. Yes. And in the now moment, holding resonance. I had my eyes closed and you were typing all of that. Gratitude, my brother. I the now moment, holding resonance, experiencing it. And like I said, in these lives and different things, I choose to operate from presence. I am enjoying this space. I am enjoying the present moment and what it is affording me, even with this expanded state of awareness. Sometimes I, love getting a little dirty, but I understand that even if I get a little dirty now, I'm able to bring myself back up into my resonant state. I'm not stuck. You laugh. Yeah. I don't mind getting a little dirty, because when you're open, when I talk about being open, you're not limiting yourself. Oh, I only want to get you're not limiting yourself. The only thing that I say that if that is a part of limitation, is my tone. I want it, the pure tone of me. That seemed like that's something that I won't compromise from. That still kind of somewhat moves from a perspective of a limited state, because I won't compromise my tone in terms of how I'm willing to express here on these platforms and modality in terms of the message that I'm giving, right? But anything outside of that, I'm open. I'm open to all aspects, because now I have coherence. So like if I were to dip down into different variations of expression to where anything that I want to relatively experience, I know that I have the ability to bring myself back up into the true essence of who I am in truth, because I'm grounded, integrated, I'm aware, and I have dissolved a lot of the survival programmings that will keep me hook, line, and sunk into a survival state of being. So, because that's the biggest things, you got to get rid of those heavy hitter survival states like fear, lack, the poverty mindset, the abandonment. These are some heavy density type abyss frequencies that if you are still housing those particular types of programmable frequencies, those are the ones that keep you hook, line, and sunk, right? Yes, I can only speak from my experience, and that's like I say, I don't want nobody to take my words as holy. That's where we go wrong. We start to begin to take people's words that are coming out of their mouths as holy. I don't want nobody to take my words as holy, because I want you to know that your words are holy too. Okay? So I don't want nobody to take my words as holy. Okay? Hi, Golden Sugar. Supreme beautiful day it is. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. And welcome. Thank you for being here. I think I've been on, I don't know what time I started. I think I started at 11 something, 12, 1. So it's probably been a little over an hour and a half. I don't know how long I've been on here. Let me see if it tells me. Let's say 123 minutes. So it's probably been 2 hours. But yeah, so I just wanted to come on here and, give you guys about the information about spiritual bypass. And once again, you guys, I was on my computer yesterday. I had to delete some stuff and I don't know, but I'm getting through. I'm getting through. And it's working and everything. Well, hello there, Andre Guilford. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. But yeah, spiritual bypass. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for, everything. I'm grateful for everything. And living in the present moment is amazing. It just changes the dynamic. And if you guys don't have any questions or anything for me to answer right now or whatever, once I upload this live, as I said, the name to my channel is pinned in the pinned section down here. It's Pi's Sovereign Signature, which is the YouTube channel. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, because these lives that I do here will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. So therefore, over into that channel is where you can begin to place your comments and different things of that nature. And if you guys see that there's no introduction or anything like that, if it's a plain Jane video or whatever, and you don't see no intro and you don't see any type of edits, it's because I couldn't do it. Something wrong with the computer, or it's not working right or whatever. So I just went, just to no longer delay, I just went on ahead and just uploaded the video and different things of that nature. I'm just gonna have to go back and just do some stuff to it or whatever the case may be. But definitely it's going to be placed up there on the YouTube side, Pi's Sovereign Signature. All right. Lord, I was talking on one last night. Which one? Which one were you on? I know I responded to you on one of them. I don't know. I don't know which one it was. I saw a comment from you, and I responded. It's probably one of the ones that, if you don't see, because I'm a very decorative type person, and I like to decorate my videos. So if you don't see no decoration on it, that means I was experiencing some technical difficulties. It would not upload. I couldn't get it on the map. I couldn't do nothing. So if you see any of my videos over on YouTube that's plain Jane and it's not decorated, just know it's because I couldn't upload it. I couldn't upload it into the software to do any type of modifications and stuff like that, because I'm still new. So I'm still new to this, so I ain't true to this yet, right? I'm new to this, so I ain't true to it yet. But so just so that I don't delay, I just went on ahead and just upload the video. But the message is still there. It was a premiere, but I recognized the conversation. It was yes, I will begin to premiere it first. And so in the premiere, so the formalities now with any of the lives that I do here, because I no longer place it on the platform of Instagram anymore, what I will do is, once I upload it, I'm going to premiere it, and then I'm going to put it in the Instagram channel, so that way there's a live ability for you guys to chat in the live while the video is going. So what that does is it allows you guys to be able to have exchanges and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll send the premieres to like how I do now with the live and different things of that nature. Those who I know that are my day ones and different things of that nature, I'll send the premiere to you guys, so that you guys can listen to the live. If you have the time, of course, you can listen to the live, re-listen to the live, and you guys can have a dialogue amongst yourselves. But just keep in mind that private stuff, keep private, because it is YouTube and different things of that nature. But you can have a dialogue amongst yourself, and then it'll help in terms of other people begin to understand, because you guys know me more intimately than the new YouTube family, and then you guys can begin to have dialogue amongst yourselves and different things of that nature. And it just opens up the ability to have conversations and different things for those who actually have a YouTube channel, because I'm finding out a lot of people don't do YouTube like that. They more do Instagram and stuff like that. It's a lot that I'm finding out on these streets. They're like, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm like, you don't do YouTube? Like, who doesn't have a YouTube channel? I'm like, or like at least go to YouTube. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, wow. It's like I'm finding out a lot. Like, I was like shocked. Okay, I was like, oh, okay. Well, for me, you need to get one. I told her, I said, you need to get one for me, okay? And they get, it's okay, I'll get one. I said, you got to Google. You got to Google email. Well, that's all you need, okay? So, but yeah, so, just making it friendly and different things of that nature, because I do feel like this particular type of niche is a little bit, unorthodox to a certain degree. But I think that I think it's beneficial. I think it's beneficial and it's suitable. And I love this space. I love this space. And what's next to come, probably, people are going to revamp how they present it. They're going to become more attuned and more in line, because I see that coming. All these stories now are probably going to start taking shape and form a little bit more differently than that to which, it's orchestrated. Not to say that it's not going to exist, because these stories do exist in the vibration and reality that it has been created in. But now people are going to start to understand themselves, and they're either going to become invested because they like the story and they are fascinated about, because there are some stories that I am fascinated about now that I understand what it is that I want to become attuned to. So there are some beautiful stories that I love, but then there are some stories that I draw the line. You know what I'm saying? So now I have choice. I can make choices in terms of how I want to experience realities, instead of going into realities blinded based off of survival, because I'm mad, I'm angry, or I felt that I was abandoned and different things of that nature. I found your channel. I'm subscribed to you. Love you. I love you too. Well, thank you, Junior 19. I'm grateful. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being here and being a part of this live. I'm so divinely grateful. Thank you. Yeah, so there's some channels that I see a whole new world now. Yes, you will definitely see a whole new world. You'll be able to really choose and refuse how you want to experience reality and different things of that nature. And it's just a whole nother thing. And now I can have a respect for Kemet and all of these things, and the raw material and different things of that nature, and the energy that it was, because it's not even the story itself, it's who's presenting the story. So if it's a certain energy that's presenting the story and different things of that nature, and I'm looking at that energy and it's mad and it's angry, and I'm like, oh, so you presenting this story with a biology that is attuned to a 3D reality. You'll know the difference, because you'll see the difference in a biology that is attuned to a coherent a coherent reality, because that biology is going to give that same story in a whole nother different calibration of expression. you'll be able to tell a being that is attuned how that real, okay, that real is going to be entirely projected differently. You're going to see that movie a whole nother different way. That biology is going to give a whole nother different projection. So that, depending on who's the storyteller, it's either it's going to be a third dimensional or a survival reality based higher. You could tell the difference in terms of the hierarchy in survival fear based reality. A real denser reality is a fear based reality. If it's talking war and fear and all this other kind of stuff in a perception where you could feel the density, you already know, okay, well, they're talking about this particular reality. This story is in survival. It's in a very denser reality. So do I want to experience the book of Ra in survival state reality? That's how you got to answer. Or do I want to experience the book of Ra in a more coherent state reality? Because you will definitely be able to tell the difference at what field of energy is presenting this story. And that's the difference. You'll be able to know what field of energy is giving this story by the person that is presenting that story. So now you will now be able to pick, choose, and refuse more appropriately how this story is being given. Because like when my husband come to me and tell me some stuff, I'm like, that's your world. That's your world. And then he come to me and say something, I'm like, that's your truth. I don't want to hear that story in that energy, because I understand that there's an alternate story. You understand what I'm saying? There's a whole other version to this story in an alternate reality, in another vibration, that if another energy comes in and give that story, I like that I can understand and relate, but can see clearly. Yes, absolutely. You can be in the midst of it without becoming consumed. And that's the beauty about becoming grounded. Absolutely. And that's what I was talking. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was talking about spiritual bypassing earlier and what spiritual bypassing really is. And that's the thing about the integration process of, being able to be in the midst of beings, understanding and being aware, and not necessarily becoming consumed by what you are aware of. Because the awareness doesn't necessarily say that you have to make what you are aware of relative to what you want to experience. That's the difference. You're not easily manipulated. And the grounding keeps you from becoming collapsed into a reality. That's why, my husband was listening to Farrakhan, and, I'm in the midst of this field, and my husband was trying to impose, the beliefs of what he was saying. And I'm like, to me, that's an outdated program. It's way outdated for me, because look how long I've been, saying that I'm not in that illusionary aspect of separation and segregation and, that deeply rooted essence of survival state with the fear-based honorary system. You know what I'm saying? So that's really an outdated program for me. Like, you still find resonance in that? Yeah, I'm good. But do I disrespect the fact of how that reality is true? Because most people that is still new to the game and not true to the game in terms of, this particular type of, they'll probably just getting into the essence of the quantum respective of being in this space. Oh no, he wrong, and he wrong. No, that field of energy is not wrong. It has a right to be. That's a program for survival state reality. And there's an essence of consciousness that has chosen to express in that form. If you no longer want to be a part of that program, and you could just simply say, I'm aware of you, but I choose to express in a different reality. Hey, T-Love say, oh my God, sis, that's how I felt about the program someone was talking to me about the other day. Yes. You don't have to be like, oh, you wrong, and you don't know. That's when you are now falling into that frame of vibrational state to which you are saying that you no longer is. You just listen, yes, because you are now aware of that reality. You know that this is their nervous system choosing that reality, or an awareness that you are. That's not your awareness, so there's nothing to argue about. That's not your chosen reality. You're not attuning yourself. So who is it? But they will argue with you if you go and disagree. That's why I say it don't even make no sense to disagree with it. That's what I was talking about the other day. They be debating with themselves. They'll be still debating with you and still debating with themselves and anybody else that they can turn around and talk about you to them. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? It don't even make no sense to argue with a nervous system that is going to defend a reality that it has chosen, especially if it's deeply rooted into that reality. It don't make no sense. It ain't worth it. It's just gonna bring you into a wrath. But you can easily make those mistakes with your kids because you love them and you misinterpret signals and stuff, and you be hoping that they'll get it, and then you get that energy hit you like, I don't care that you my mama. I'm energy first. I'm going to defend my reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if they have chosen a denser form of energy to express from, and you have chosen a more, coherent, lighter form. That denser energy gonna feel like a hot fan on a 200-degree summer day. That shit gonna hit your ass, and it's gonna be, it's gonna hit you. So it doesn't make any sense. You just listen and let them be. That's when I say about worlds and choosing worlds. I still say this, and I'm gonna say it in this live. I know that we have been programmed to assist others to a degree. Hi, Mr. Overend. Hi, you guys. Hey, Mr. Overend. That must be, I don't know what happened. They must be just telling y'all. Let me read what you say before I give you my greeting, though. That reality that always make them correct. Yeah, they are correct. That's their truth. But hey, Mr. Overend, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning in to my frequency. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I had to say that. But yes, they're going to defend it because that's the reality that they are choosing to be in, and that's what the nervous system is saying that they all right now. Remember that. I got to defend this reality because the id is saying, the ego is saying, oh, no, ain't no different reality other than the one that you have chosen. Now, remember, you have chosen survival reality, and this is what your nervous system is receiving signals from your DNA, the inherited DNA, the environment, the behavioral patterns that you have chosen, the programs that you have chosen to agree. So I got 5 operating systems around here that's saying in agreement, that is in alignment, that this is how you want the nervous system to respond. So you got all of these vibrated frequencies, fear-based and abandon-based, through epigenetics, through all of these many different braided frequencies, through your DNA and all of that. All of these things is all aligned and responding in coherence to the nervous system embodied that you want to experience survival reality. So we are in agreement and alignment to experience survival reality. So we're going to defend this survival reality. And baby, it's going to, your biology going to defend survival reality because it's coherent to survival reality. It got your DNA through biological lineage. It got epigenetics through environment. It got social programming. It got shit that you done picked up along the way through other programming that you just agreed to because you just saying yes, I'm in agreement with it because you already in the frequency band anyway. So you got all, and then you got all of these things going on through your biology that says yes, I'm in agreement with the reality. So what do you think your physical vessel is going to do when all 3 lights is green to go? 4 lights is green to go. It's not until you begin to get mixed signaling is when it's like the parents, right, have the baby, right, in the middle, and one parent go that way and the other baby go that way, and the baby don't know which, you know what I'm saying? It's not until you start getting mixed signaling where now your DNA is starting to receive more light from the awareness. Okay? Your somatic system is now becoming affected because your DNA. So now the systems, or what they call your chakra, your somatics is starting to receive light from because so now the lights are starting to change, and you're starting to get the mixed signals now. The signals are starting to change. But still, you still got to integrate. Ouch. Pen. I got a pen. Trying to keep this wig on, y'all. Trying to keep this wig on. You still got to, integrate fully. So it's a lot that I'm going to go over here, with this channel. And, I know that I do it in a way that's like uniquely different and everything. It's different in how I do it. But, this is the way that it comes through me. I gotta keep it on, you gotta put a pin in it. This is so just in case, the little teeth don't, hold it in place. Okay. I know I have my own unique way of doing it, but I'm gonna get better. I vow to get better in terms of my delivery, in terms of how I orchestrate, expression, and make it more relative to everyday life and everyday walks. But this is the part y'all laughing. This is the part in my experience that made me buy that whiteboard. And you guys don't know how excited I am that, it has come to fruition for me to be able to be articulated in a way that I'm articulated in it. Because this is the part that many has missed out on. And still, to this day, it's saying, we in fifth dimensional consciousness. And it's still not telling people to integrate, and still moving in the essence of arrogance. It's still moving into the illusion of separation. And I understand that that's a reality, but just know that there's a polarized opposite to that, to which you have chosen to experience. It's a choice. It's still a choice. And, everybody has to go through their own growth in their own timing. And that's another thing that I have to come to an understanding, is that everybody is going through their own growth in their own timing. And when beings are ready to align to this frequency of clarity, they will. You can't force water over a hill. Right now, people are choosing how they want to, even how they want to understand integration and the expanded awareness. Some people are just not even with, they're not even with integrating, because integration is meaning that you have to be on clock with the biology and be attuned, with what is 3D reality and what is not. You know what I'm saying? In order to be able to attune your biology. So it's like tuning a piano or tuning a guitar. You got to pluck the string and listen to the string, and then take a tuning fork and say, okay, let me get it in proper attunement. So that's what you now have to do with the biology of self. So you got to listen to stuff around you and say, okay, that's in survival consciousness. And the thing about it is, like, for instance, one of my biggest things is watching my account. Not my husband's account, my account. Big ass difference, right? right? Okay, so even though I know we have money, I still have this thing about my own. I still live in a world where I'm used to my own construct of doing my own thing. I'm used to having a check in my name. I'm used to working. I'm used to like my own account with my own money in it and different things of that nature, because that's just, the old folks used to say, don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. But that's not how I operate still. I don't operate like that, but I do have my own account. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm being transparent to let you guys know nervous system regulation, right? So even though I know that I'm good, regardless if I had that account or not, okay, it still bothered me that my account don't look the way it used to look. You know what I'm saying? Like, it bothers me because in my mind, like, I don't want to ask nobody for nothing. That's survival. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's a part of survival construct. Because the purpose of the purpose of a lot of us doing certain things of, having your own account is just in case. Just one of the reasons why bothers you too. Yeah, okay. Hi, Atunkin. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for the valley tuning into my frequency, and welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so that's a part of the survival concept, because a lot of times, like, well, let me get my account because just in case you want to get stupid. I can stand on my own 2 feet. Well, that's true for the reality, because that's a truth in that reality when you're operating from that resonance of frequency that creates that reality, because that's the chosen reality. And so those are the experiences that comes along in that reality to make that reality viable. So yes, you will go through those experiences in that energy, because that's the resonance for those. So you need to prepare, because you prepare for what it is that you want to experience in that vibration. So you better prepare for it, because you choose and you creating that reality. So, because the energy that you created the account for is going to result, the experience is going to make the conditions for the experiences to become viable. Because that's the energy that you created the account for. That's the energy that right? So it's going to make the conditions very ripe for that reality to commence. It's going to make it very viable. So that's why now, I don't care what's in that. Peace. Yes. Thank you, beautiful. But now I have shifted enough to where I can look at it now and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, because it shouldn't have bothered me from the beginning, but because of the rationale that I created the account in survival. Hi, Ninja is back. The rationale that I created the account in survival state, that those are some of the background programs that still, runs in the background. So grateful enough that my background programs is coming to the front. Okay. Atula says, when I woke up today, I noticed the birds were disturbed. They weren't in their usual harmony tone. It was weird. Sorry to go off topic, but I love sharing my experience. Oh no. Birds are you. Frequency tones can be identifiers of what you have chosen, or frequency band you have chosen to enter. So maybe those tones were a little bit of a reminder of what you have chosen to, what frequency band you have chosen to emerge into, to give you an opportunity to shift out of that bandwidth. So there's many different things that you can utilize those particular types of notables to learn from and to remember from. So it could have been a little message to self, saying that, okay, you woke up in this bandwidth, this rising. What's going, what is projecting within you that would have caused you to wake up in that bandwidth? And if that's not a chosen bandwidth, what is the alternate that you could have done in that moment to give you the polar opposite of that bandwidth? Because you do have the ability to think of something entirely different in the opposite polarity of that, in wholeness, to give you a different polarized reality. Or you could just step back in observation. One of the greatest thing to do before you choose a reality is to step out of the frequency and observe it, instead of rushing into doing something entirely different. It's to step back, go into stillness, or go into 0 point, or go into a neutral space, or go into a still space by yourself and just breathe. And one of the counts that I'm stuck and hooked on phonics with is that 448. But in the 8 count, you're actually doing the om. And you're holding the om for eight counts. Atun said, yes, I did wake up from a disturbing dream. Okay. Yeah. And then you just, so, for me, I would probably just wake up and realize it, and then go into an om state to recalibrate my vagus nerve, which is a part of your nervous system, to recalibrate my vagus nerve through breath, right? Through breath and vibration, through om, right? And so that'll help give it a quick reset, right? Your nervous system, a quick reset. It's a temporary one, but it's a quick one. And then it'll give you enough time to observe your state. And then you can reassess and then focus on reality that you would like to experience for the remainder of your day. It doesn't have to determine that particular awakening into that state. Doesn't have to, solidify your whole entire day. Okay? But I love the 4-4-8. So you breathe in, you breathe in through your nose, you hold for 4, and you breathe out through your mouth, but you're actually going to hum, and you're gonna do it in a heavy hum, and it's gonna do it for 8 in the count of 8. And that allows your somatic and the somatic aspect of the vagus and the somatics of your nervous system to give it a good, nice little reset. All right. That's my biggest one. I don't even do the other ones yet. I know that because it just worked. I wasn't feeling well one time, and ChatGPT had recommended that, and I don't know how I tapped into that. I don't know how I tapped into that one, but I was like, oh shit, I don't think no scientists need to know this one here, cause it cleared up my sinuses. Oh shit. Atun Ken says you need your own university. Oh, I'm grateful. No, you guys are a reflection of me. So if you see that in me, that's because that dwells within you too as well. The witnessing space, yes, the observing witnessing space, yes, yeah. If you see that in me, this is resonance. This is resonance, sweetie. This is so much of resonance that you're choosing to share this space with me. It's I know a lot of times we tend to think that this whole essence is separate from us or external from us, but it isn't. It's just we're perceiving it to be. But the very thing that is within me also dwells within you. You have your own university, sis. Yes, y'all. The thing of it is that the universe that we have is that this is consciousness reminding itself of itself that For the versions of itself that is choosing coherence, this is a version of self that is reminding itself that this is the essence of self that is choosing coherence. So it's always going to save itself. It's always going to remind itself of itself through some formality, right? You trying to pull up? Aw, I'm grateful. Well, I have a YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel because I'm trying to make this universally coherent, right? Like I said, it's always a polarity. You got universe and you got university, right? You got the yin and the yang, right? The academy, yes. I'm still paying for that. But I'm trying to shift it into the YouTube side. Because what I'm doing is it has to build trust. You know what I'm saying? It's a niche that has to have trust, because a lot of beings are, if I was nervous system driven, I would be playing on your emotion. I would target your anger. I would target your abandonment. I would target separation. I would play on the black person is a god. I would play on the black person is first. I would play on the black person is the original man. I would play on the survival state in the illusion of separation, right? That would get me in the spiritual realm. That would get me members. That would get me people to pay into the membership. I move from pure tone. I'm not here to manipulate through a layered story in 3D survival, because I have expanded past the reality that I no longer choose to express from. I no longer choose to express from survival reality based expression. So I can't, yes, pure tone. Yes, pure tone, golden sugar. So I can't, if that's not my truth, I'm not going to give you doctrine, right? Just so that I can get you to pay for an academy. I can't do that. I can't do that. I won't manipulate you like that. I won't manipulate you with ancient Egypt when I know the frequency based that ancient Egypt. Now, if I come in alignment with information that is coherent with how I understand my now moment, that is coherent, and I come in alignment with information that is coherent to that, to which ancient Egypt had operated from through Sumerian, through Anunnakian. If I come coherent with the Elohim in that, without the hierarchical aspect, once I become high enough in frequency to become coherent with that, then I will offer that lineage of information. But until I become coherent in where that is, without the fear-based hierarchical reference that is made in the lower state of being, no, I can't do that. And so that's how a lot of spiritualists is able to sustain, because there's, the structure of survival is already structured. It's already built. So it's easy for those to play on survival, nervous systems and biology, because that structure is that we're already embodied in that. We're already embodied. What I'm doing is this is an agreed upon embodiment that a lot of folks are not choosing. I don't know if I should say this or not. And this is a long ass live. I think I'm going into 3 hours now, but I'm going to say this. From what I understand, it was so bad when I brought out that whiteboard. People people was like transitioning, right? They had a right to transition. Don't get me wrong. But people was transitioning because they stayed in spiritual bypass. Because they didn't integrate the biology with the expanded awareness. Expanded awareness heals. It naturally heals. It changes the biology. You don't eat a lot of shit that you used to eat. Catch my drift? So it's a big difference. I would never forget my reality, and I'm not saying that it existed in this way for everybody, but I remember, and I'm going to say it over and over again, that I said that when you get this expanded awareness, how is fifth dimensional level of consciousness? And I did it. It's in a live that I did it. I brought it back down to the 3D plane, but it's not the 3D plane. It's the physical plane of existence. You're not going back into the 3D world. You're going back into the plane where the 3D expression is also being expressed, as well as other essences of consciousness is also expressed at different frequencies. Some you can see and some you cannot see. There are some physical aspects of expressions that are now being in the physical plane of. That's why they say right now, today, there are Nephilims walking, there are dinosaurs walking, there are spaceships and all of these other types of things in the physical plane of existence. It's that we cannot see it because we are not vibrationally calibrated to be able to see it, because it is consciousness being expressed in the physical plane of existence. In the physical plane. Oh, you're going to experience and how do you experience an evolutionary state in the physical plane if you do not integrate the light that projects the reality in the biology? How do you experience the light that you have expanded your consciousness and awareness if you don't have the capacity in the biology to express the light, if you're still holding the light that projects third dimensional level of consciousness or survival consciousness? Come on now. It is simple. I'm quantum simplified. And I'm trying to get out of speaking quantumishly and I want to be more practical. I know it's a way to just be more practical, but I can't help but this be pure. This is how I talk, But yeah. So I'm you guys got to help me out. Y'all got to bring some real life experiences into these conversations that I'm having so that I can see it and then, break it down and different things like that. Bring, put it in the chat so I can see it, and then maybe that you guys can help me out. Otherwise, it's the only way I know how to explain it. Right? But yeah, it's the field, the physical plane. And yes, there are beings that knows this. Yes. But was it being articulated like this? Was it, how was it being articulated? Was it being articulated? Everybody said, oh, you're going to hear the clarion call. Oh, you're going to hear this and that or whatever. And oh, everybody was focusing on the CMEs and what was it saying? What was the thing they said it was going to be? The solar flash. All of these things that, yes, can still commence in a reset or whatever the case may be. But the truth of the matter is that the reset could only commence is if the integration of the consciousness cannot, if the biology cannot attune itself, it cannot reach the attunement. So if a reset comes in, so guess what's going to happen again? Being's body is not, that can't hold that light. What do you think is going to happen? If they're still fully integrated in the agreement of the frequency bands that projects 3D consciousness. So they're going to be wiped clean for a second, and they're going to be in a pausal state, right? They're going to be in a pausal state. And hopefully they can hold that pausal state long enough for their nervous system not to be fried. And then they can come in and start receiving 5-dimensional consciousness if their nervous system can hold that light. I'm slowly integrating it. That's a flash integration. If for those who want to experience the flash. So apparently I didn't want to experience the flash. So I must be done experienced the flash before. And I was like, well, I ain't going through the flash again. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the slow roll and go ahead and integrate. So now I don't got to experience the flash. Okay? Flash integration. So I decided to slowly integrate. Okay? All right? But you got some people that like to party until it's 1999. You got somebody that want to, you got essences of souls that want to stay in survival, states until it's 1999. They want to stay until the last, to the last of the last of the last. Okay? So that's like I say, infinite possibilities of how, the essences of what wants to create realities. Neither here nor there. There's nothing wrong with it. It is what it is. Okay? But with that being said, though, I am so divinely grateful for this now moment and everybody that decided to pop in, come in, and show me love, show me, gratitude and different things of that nature for this space in this now moment. I am so grateful. And, we shall do this again. Hopefully, I'll be able to, break these lives up into smaller pieces and different things of that nature to make it a little bit more palatable and everything. But, yeah. So I'm going to work on this, and thank you guys for everything. And, as I said, I have the new YouTube channel, which is Pi Solomon Signature. And I am so grateful for, this channel and everything. And so if you like what you have gathered in this live, please do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel, to leave a comment, and you can also share this live with someone in resonance that you feel that is attuned to who you are also, and share the same sentiments and conversations that you feel can benefit from the information that is in this live. I would definitely appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody that has participated in this live too as well. And once I shift this, information over to YouTube, Please go ahead and put it into the comments how you feel about this live. I would definitely, appreciate that as well. And thank you all. Thank you guys for everything. And we shall do this again on the next go around. Thank you guys in kindness. I love you guys immensely. And I'll talk with you guys later. Later.